that was brilliant.
Shorter athlete, how do you improve the bag pass?
Yeah, well, so my kind of knee-jerk reaction to that is, it's just the same as everybody else, like just get better, get stronger, practice or whatever. But there are a couple of things, like I think a thicker soled shoe, and particularly, like say boots like this, I've noticed recently, like obviously the longer you are at the release point, the shorter the range of motion, whatever. But I think the big thing is the scoot potential in terms of how much you can accelerate the bag on the way down. So if I'm shorter like this, so if I'm just in my bare feet, right, and I enter here, or say I'll show you with this bag for instance. Right, say I enter here, and then I drop down to accelerate. If I'm wearing my flats, I can't drop the bag down as much in terms of the scoop because like
potential to scrape the floors.
Yeah,
greater when you're an inch closer.
Exactly. Yeah. So I always encourage people to go high end. Simple way to think about it: high entry, low exit. So I'll just show you this. So we go high entry, low exit like that, and you can see like a bit of a scooping motion. So if I'm wearing high heels, say really high heels, the potential for that to increase, like because the entry's the same, but I can drop that bag more. And people might think, why is that important? The reason why it's important, and it's not just like a kettlebell swing, is when you're accelerating down like that and coming down low, you're harnessing the gravity, and gravity's assisting you accelerate that bag.
One thing that I have noticed is what you said, really small athletes, sometimes just with that being narrower, they're not. Because you get some of the like really small females, like they'll have to open
the bag's too open.
Whereas if they can go here, then that allows them to get a better swing without cutting the inside of the legs.
So you then add an inch a bit to your height by having your legs closer.
Yeah, because you're not having to.
Yeah.
Almost sumo it over the bag because it's so wide.
And another little hack that contributes to that point. So do you ever feel like, say, when you do bag throws, sometimes it's frustrating that your thumb catches on the way back? Do you ever feel that? You never feel that? So that's a common thing that people feel where they go like that, and they just feel like sometimes my thumb catches. So what I like to do is I like these Cerber shorts in particular, inside out, that's really smooth and slippy, because I feel that even if I just misgroove and I just get a bit of contact with the thumb, it just slides through. Whereas if I'm just wearing like, say, you know, like joggers or shorts or even stuff like that, they're pretty good, like because that's smooth material. But I just find, you know, like if you do back throw on them, it would be very frustrating because you'd be like, you'd keep catching. In terms of warm up and stuff, I find what's the most important thing with bag throw is just building the kind of proprioception or the awareness of how far away the thingy is. So what I like to do is like do a little bit of a warm up. If you watch most of the time, I do these at comps. What I'll do, usually, so nobody catches on or whatever, I'll often come out with like smelling salts or my chalk or something, and I'll measure it. And then I know roughly, I want it to be, for me to make the 23 kilo bag in a run, I've got to be just within 1 meters in my release point to get that peak height. Like my best throws, if I was going to max it, would be releasing probably just within a meter, say 90 centimeters or whatever, underneath the thing, and it'd land at exactly the same spot the other side. So what I'd be doing is I'd be looking at trying to get that point like underneath here, and then I put a little marker down, like say here, and then I wouldn't be looking so much at where that is. I'd be using this to calibrate roughly if you can get a bit of a warm up, and then just using that and see how far away I am. So yeah, that felt all right. And by accident, I did the 23 then, which I didn't actually, you know, if I'd known that was 23, I'd have fucking probably failed it, actually. So I'm buzzing with that. But yeah, like being real with that, that's like a maximal weight for me. And I don't know if you noticed, but like say, the technique probably looked pretty good on the first one. And then on the second one, because the weight's pretty maximal, my error is I follow through forward when it gets heavy. So obviously if you slow-mo that and you think about the weight distribution, if my weight's going here, I'm wasting energy going out there. So if...
It's two different momentums as well. You're going forward, well, that's going back.
Yeah, for sure. So I always say like the big thing for me is try and follow through or try and follow through or reach the middle fingers to the sky in the direction that you want the bag to go. So I'll try and exaggerate on this one. And then on this one, I'll do it, linking back to, when it gets heavy, linking back to the error that I've just shown you on that, where it's, oh, fucking hell, this is heavy, and then I've gone, and I've like split jerked it forward. So what I'm going to try this time, I'm going to think, instead of saying central with my follow through, I'm going to try and bias my follow through a bit more that way. And I find that if I do that, because of where I just feel strong, usually it'll bring me more central. So I'm going to try and almost follow through backwards. See how it is. That was brilliant.
train a bit further away. So, like, you've seen when we did, like, for example, Scotland last year, I didn't even warm up on the bag throws.
Aye.
It was hot outside, I sat inside, so I was in there until I got into it because I was so confident I knew the setup, and I know I can throw, I know I can transition between different techniques. But if I was to come down somewhere else, I would try and get down as early as I could and see what this looks like in past my mind. This is closer. So the only thing I'm worrying about is, am I throwing it to... I'm usually coming probably here.
Your arc's more of an arc than it is an up and down.
Warm-ups to make sure that I'm throwing in the right
Up and down as opposed to an arc.
And then if it's, when you're super confident, like Josh was saying about finishing like that, you're looking at it and you see the guys, like Shane Flowers and stuff, they're really, Cam does your current boot really well. It's like, they're not doing that until the last bag. They know that they're losing a quarter of a second each time, so they're throwing the first couple like this, and they're all going and on the way back in because they're that confident. Then you get this last one, and they're boom, because they need it.
Aye.
So it's like, I think at the start, train them all like that, and then when you're confident and you're hitting 24 or 26, and then you can, when you get to 14, 16, 18, you're like boom, 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 and then the last one, you've saved that second and a half.
You get so skilled and practiced on the runs that you learn how to pull your shots on the lighter bags. So you can say, like, say for instance me on this, to get this, right, I can't afford to go full throttle on the first two. I can't afford to brace and you know, you'll see how many times you see it at comps where people miss like the bag that they miss on, and then you roll back the footage to the first two bags,
and
they fucking cleared it by miles. And you just think there's no point. Whereas the really, really good people at, you know, who are really close to the limit, like people like Shane Flowers, for instance, he's absolutely clearing it. He's brilliant. But people who are really close to the limit who complete a good bag run, you'll find that they get really good at like pulling the like I treat the first two on this run. If I complete this run, probably won't, but maybe will. I'm going to have to almost, like, it'll look like I'm almost just flicking the first two. Like, I'll show you on this because I will practice it, right? And just look, I'll show you one of the earlier bags versus one of the later bags, and just look at the technique difference. So I'll go here. So on that first one, I'm almost feeling, I don't know how close it was, but I could have launched that way over.
Aye.
But I'm just doing it. I don't even feel like I'm extending fully. And I've moved on to the next bag. Whereas if I do that on the 22, I haven't got enough power to get it over. But if I use the same amount of power I'm using on the 22 on the early bag when I don't need it, and all I'm getting is higher clearance, it's like it's costing me later on.
Sometimes you see it kind of like novice level where people are like, every time they're getting the power, but they're just bumping against the thing.
Yeah.
And then they get, like the fourth time they just manage to,
Aye.
like probably it's through no skill, just manage to let it go at the right point. But when people have been doing it for a while, you know, generally if they miss it twice, like, they're fucking done.
And that's what Steve's saying about being absolutely bang on about getting the trajectory nailed. Whereas, I don't know, being picky there on Steve's technique, I'm thinking that if he gets to the point he's fatigued and he gets to that last bag, he might clip that thing and it might be enough for him to fail. Like it's finishing too far back here. In terms of his peak height,
Aye.
He's going to be too close to the beam. Yeah, that's what I think. So, like, I think it'll be better if wherever he's releasing, trying to get it releasing the same distance the other side of the pin. That's it. So somewhere exactly in the middle of those last two.
Aye.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. So not being picky with his follow through, because that was forward, but just looking at the trajectory of the bag. That was great. You want to go first, Steve? Well, yeah, reverse order.
Oh,
yes. Good lad. Brilliant. It's because you're fucking talking to me before you lost bag. Comp scenario, we're playing for a quid. Steve's gone first because I beat him at dumbbell, so I've got a target to beat now, and he's did, 20 seconds? It plays my hand. I know my tactic on this. I know that I just need to complete that with no mistakes, and I'll beat the time, but it's a maximal weight, so maybe, say 5 times out of 10 I'll make this, and I'd win. 5 times out of 10, I'd probably fail the 4th by a misgroove, or the 5th, just because I've, you know, made a mistake or something. How I prepare the bags is I like to get the sand to the other side, and then pull the strapless, to almost like make it like it's almost like a cannonball that side, if you will.
If you were in a comp and I was like refereeing you, I'd already said go by
I'd have just gone, it wouldn't make that much difference, I'm not bothered. Like, I mean, I'm one of those people that, you know, just pluck an event out your ass and just go straight in. I'm not bothered. But if you have got time to prep, I'll use it.
Right, athlete ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Yes.
16.2.
Cheers. Yes, another quid. Credit to Steve, what he's always done with bag throws. Like, I think me and Steve share a similar philosophy of working backwards from what the sport is in terms of we've got this series of event. Like, how are we going to maximise what we're doing at that? So, you know, Steve's in like bag throw coming up comps for what his athletes competing in. So he knows that he needs to fucking buy the bags. He needs to get a game made because there's, you know, even the guys that have got a bag at home and they're practicing and they're getting good at throwing, they actually linking the series together. You know, it's a similar thing to, you know, how often do you see it where people with a massive max stone and they're trading stone singles, but then they get smoked at a sub-maximal stone run, you know, and that's how they're prepping for their stone run, you know. Oh, well, I'll build up to I've got whatever my stone run is next week, I'll just build up to a heavy triple this week on one of the heavier stones as the last session, and they're getting smoked by somebody who's just really efficient with their transitions.
Even just coming back, coming forward.
Don't practice moving side to side.
Yeah,
And
like in that world was a perfect example. You could have, if you didn't know, you could have picked out the people that either trained at Josh's or trained at mine, because they were quick. Whereas you've seen some people and they're like, boom, great throws, but it's like all over the place, and then they're throwing it, and they're like 2-3 seconds later they're way back into the next one. It's just like linking that.
even if you're looking at the landing position, Josh's are all grouped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think in, especially at Natty Worlds as well, loads of people rushed it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, and then rushing, this is one of those events similar to an overhead event where if you're too hyped, you'll fuck it up straight away.
Yeah.
Because like, it needs to be like calm and controlled over like, excitable and like...
He used to it as well, like then that, like, he was super relaxed. I was too relaxed, I thought he wasn't going to get to 24. But he was super relaxed because he was like, I know what I need to do now, I can stay chilled and I can get it. How many times you go to college, you see people who have been doing bag throws, you've seen them training, and then they throw it like fucking that, and then they need to go get it. Because they're just like over fucking hyped, they want to smash everybody, they're angry, I don't know why they're angry, but just fucking launching the bag instead of just being chilled. Like his one was perfect there, because you could see how relaxed he was, and I could see how relaxed he was when I finished, because I was like, he obviously fucking put a thing up being like, oh, I just managed to get the 24 yesterday, so I was like, he's not going to get that, and I'm like, so I would take my time, get 24, he's no chance. And I could tell as soon as I was finished, he was like, oh, I just need to like relax and I've got it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, what you're saying about the, you know, he's seen the training and seen me like, get 24 so hard, but the thing is that you gain with experience is, I was thinking about this the other day, I've never really talked about it that much on social media, but like the more experience you get with pretty much any event and stuff, the less close you have to go to it in training, and actually the better you get at scaling how, like say that felt easier than doing say 14, 16, 18, like say finishing on 20 the other day in terms of my training. But what I'm doing there for like 15 seconds, I'm going like max out. I'm really switching on. I'm in that, you know, because we're playing for a quid, bit of competition element, and that was, you know, my nervous system is just firing because there's that bit of competition. But years ago, 4 years ago, I'd be trying to train at that intensity all the time, and you just get smoked and or frustrated. Whereas now I know that I've just been doing the sub-maximal runs. I can do it at, if I can do my say that run that I've just, say a 5-bag run finishing on 20, I can put about, say, 7 RPE into each set, or 70% effort, 80% effort. So therefore I can actually repeat it. So I did 5 sets the other day at that, and each set felt as difficult as that. That didn't feel any harder, but I'm getting that advantage. The only thing that I'm doing is scaling up my nervous system and how much I'm putting into it. That's why it's not comparable what Steve's saying about watching my 24 that I was struggling with yesterday or the other day, because I'm in training mode. I'm trying to not get hyped.